Story 1. Someone walking slowly in front of me. A million bonus points if they are walking 3 abreast and I cannot get past them. Story 2. That clear hard plastic commonly used for tools and button batteries is molded to the contents and sometimes held together with rivets. It can only be cut with industrial scissors or metal snips, and then you have to pry it apart. Be careful not to cut yourself on the plastic, as it hurts a lot and takes a week to heal. This usually happens to me because I am frustrated that the contents are considered so valuable they need to be encased in something like a chastity belt. Story 3. People or groups standing right in the middle of a doorway or busy hallway. Can't you just move a bit to continue your reunion? I went to Buc-ee's the other day. A man in a long bed truck and a long trailer was driving through and was stopped by a friend, sitting in front of the entrance and blocking 4 parking spots. The person in front of us had their blinker on, waiting to park in the empty spot. Took us about a minute to get around them so we could park. It was really infuriating. The lack of common courtesy drives me insane. Story 4. When you try to pick something up off the floor and you do not quite get it, repeat 1,000 times. I feel a rage that consumes my soul. Story 5. Glass jars where the labels are glued on. I feel guilty if I let stuff end up in a landfill, yet punished for trying to reuse it. Story 6. A giant corporation is asking for a $2 donation at checkout. I do not blame the poor clerk who has to repeat their corporate nonsense. I just quietly stew. Story 7. Slow drivers. People who sit at green lights. People who cannot use 4-way stops. People who do not use turn signals. Story 8. You are at a red light and see that the intersections down the road have no traffic, but the lights are green. As you start approaching, the lights turn yellow at the perfect moment to annoy you. Are there other cars at the cross street waiting to turn? No. The light turned red for no reason other than Orlando has poor timing for traffic signals. Rush hour is one thing, but midnight when traffic is sparse is another. Fix the traffic lights, Orlando. Story 9. When I tap a button on my phone, nothing happens. I tap again, and it behaves as if I tapped on the next screen, causing it to load incorrectly. Story 10. Too many displays down the grocery aisles. Sometimes I just push them out of my way. The aisles are usually spaced so 2 carts can pass each other. But those displays cause a lot of frustration. Story 11. When I am getting dressed or undressed and my foot gets stuck in my pants leg, I experience immediate, irrational rage that is entirely unjustified given how minor the situation is. Story 12. When I am trying to rinse all the food residue off a dish before putting it in the dishwasher, and there is one stubborn spot that will not come off, I catch myself scream whispering, "Oh my God, it is not that deep, just come off." It is so dumb, but it is because wet or old food makes me want to vomit just by looking at it, so having to touch it is the worst thing ever for me. Story 13. People not entering the intersection when waiting to make a left-hand turn, then getting stuck through another red light. You cannot get a ticket for being in the intersection when the light turns red. You are supposed to get out there, and if traffic does not clear before the light changes, you make your turn once the light turns red and stops incoming traffic. You are legally permitted to clear the intersection at a red light, provided you entered when it was green or yellow. This is especially annoying when there is no green arrow for left turns, and people will sit through multiple lights as if there is nothing they can do. I have many driving pet peeves. Driving is a huge responsibility, very dangerous, and affects many people. I take it seriously, and I do not understand how so many people treat it casually, without caring about learning the finer points and practicing to get better. It is crazy to me. Everyone should have a driving philosophy and exercise it. Story 14. Any welded plastic clamshell packaging that requires an electric knife, utility shears, or tin snips to open. Story 15. When you are lying in bed and you know you have a big packet of cheesy Wotsits, a Cadbury's chocolate snack bar, and a tall glass of fresh orange juice in the kitchen, but you have to go to the kitchen to get them. Story 16. My wife's morning routine is consistent. She often hits the snooze button multiple times and then watches videos in the bathroom before getting in the shower 2 minutes before I am supposed to use the bathroom and get ready for the day. Story 17. Waiting in line for self-checkout and watching the person at the register struggle with the simple task of scanning and paying for their items. Story 18. People stopping to chat directly in the middle of the grocery aisle, blocking all traffic, usually two women. I am female, so do not take this personally. I head for them without slowing down with a smile and say, "You were fishing in the channel. Excuse me." I am usually unfailingly polite, but I see this pretty much every time I am out shopping and I really hate it. Story 19. When people snort instead of using a tissue or handkerchief, it is unpleasant. Whatever you do, do not spit on the ground. It happens rarely, but if I bump my head, I become irrationally angry and irritated with myself for a minute. Story 20. A single cashier is working at Walmart while there are 20 unstaffed registers and at least 5 employees standing around. Story 21. Slow drivers. I am in no rush to get where I am going, but I will lose my patience if you drive below the speed limit in front of me. Story 22. Automatic lawnmowers and leaf blowers. Cacophonous sounds of mechanized hell. Oh, how I loathe them. I despise them like Kramer and Newman hated Keith Hernandez. Like Tolkien hated cars. I would go full authoritarian just to ban their use if I were ever elected to some office. Story 23. When someone does not want a zipper merge and I have to go in behind them even if it was my turn, it literally changes nothing for me. I will still get there at the same time, but I cannot convince my prideful lizard brain to let it go. Story 24. When people back their trucks with trailer hitches in and block the entire sidewalk with the truck bed and hitch, it causes instant rage. Story 25. When there are many comments and very few upvotes, is the thread worth reading? Or is it just a bunch of people expressing their opinions and leaving? Story 26. When people in my house leave dishes in the sink without even taking 5 seconds to rinse them, leaving gross food to harden onto the dirty dishes, I get very frustrated. Story 27. Did you forget your password? What I hate about it is the unnecessary accusation. The utter smarm coming from a place of holier-than-thou infallibility. Did you forget your password? You humans are so forgetful. I'll just assume that of all your myriad flaws, forgetting is the one you've bumbled your way into. Humans are so dumb, it's the most likely explanation. Since forgetfulness is the most frustrating and least fixable issue, let's go with that. Did you forget your password? There is no fathomable possibility that the cause of this inconvenience came from my end. I am a faultless machine. I'll ignore all the myriad explanations that could be causing a password error from my end, and I will assume it is you pitiful forgetful human, who is the problem. Does anyone realize how many different ways there are to inform you that your password didn't work without assigning blame or highlighting the user's flaws? Forget whoever came up with this user experience. Story 28. People who ride their brakes. Sir, if your brake lights are going to be on constantly, they really do not help anyone. Story 29. When someone in the household does not replace the toilet paper roll or the paper towel roll after it is almost or completely empty. My father is notorious for doing this, and it makes me very angry every time it happens. I have started throwing the cardboard rolls at him in defiance. Story 30. When making pasta and stirring in a sauce, some pieces of the pasta accidentally spill out. It is a very minor thing but makes me want to eliminate everything in a 2-block radius. Story 31. People who cannot drive. More so when the light turns green, go. Speed up. There is a mile-long line of cars behind you that also want to get through the intersection. It should not take you half a mile to reach 45 miles per hour. People who do not know what a yield sign means. People who play with their phones while driving. People who zone out while driving, then speed up once they realize you are passing them. People who do not comprehend a safe following distance. The gaps between cars are not solely for you to squeeze into. People who cannot focus on driving while talking to passengers. People with zero situational awareness who immediately slam their brakes. People who do not understand physics. Driving a car does not mean treating the brake and gas as on-off switches. You can let off the gas and the car will slow down on its own. You do not have to immediately hit the brakes. People who drive under the speed limit. Basically, driving in America in 2025 makes me irrationally angry. I have been driving for 18 years and have driven commercial semi-trucks for 13 of those years. I have watched the entire population get worse at driving, and it infuriates me. Driving used to be fun for me. I became a trucker because I loved driving. Now I resent it. I wish I could work a normal job, live in a city, and take public transportation. Story 32. I am not sure if you would consider it minor, but high beams really bother me. They make me want to crash my vehicle into the oncoming one. The worst are those drivers who do not even turn off their high beams when you flash them. Story 33. Food remains cold after being in the microwave for 3 to 4 business days, or becomes cold too quickly. Story 34. Yahoo login. The page says signing in. If you see this message, click on next. What's the point? This reminds me of my previous employer. I arrive at work, set up my laptop, turn it on, and log in. Then I go to the restroom while it is loading. But when I get back, the screen asks for a confirmation, so nothing was loaded. I just hate babysitting the laptop just to log in. Story 35. When I have my earbuds in and they get caught and pulled out of my ears, it makes me very angry for a moment. I am also unable to afford wireless earbuds. Story 36. When I have to repeat myself so many times that after the third time I will just let you find out. Story 37. People standing in an aisle at the grocery store just talking to each other or on their phone. If you want to chat, please take it outside. Story 38. People bring carts full of items to self-checkout, taking up all the registers for 30 minutes when I just want to buy 3 items. Story 39. Not being able to use cruise control on a long stretch of road because someone in front cannot maintain their speed, and when they seem to go slow when I cannot pass but go faster when I can, I swear it is intentional. Story 40. Someone who drives in the passing lane on the interstate highway just stays there and never moves back to the right lane. I figured the driver got their license from a box of Cracker Jacks. Story 41. I'm pretty sure I hit every single traffic light at that exact moment when you have to decide whether to run a halfway red light or slam on your brakes. When you get 5 lights in a row like that, it is really frustrating. Story 42. The left turn signal at an intersection lasts just long enough for 2 cars to get through if they are paying attention. Story 43. When clients insist on having the location pin sent to them, remind them that they can find our landline number by searching our place online. By clicking next to the number, they can obtain the location themselves. Story 44. When the lip balm is just a smidgen too low and my lip gets scrapes instead of that smooth glide sensation. Forget you, lip balm tube. Story 45. Other drivers. By that I mean those who drive at 40 miles per hour in a 60 miles per hour zone when road conditions are perfect. There are no junctions, no one ahead of them, and the road is very straight, yet they brake for no reason whatsoever. Then, when it gets to a 30 miles per hour zone, they still continue going 40 miles per hour. If they can drive 40 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone but cannot or will not drive 60 miles per hour in a 60 miles per hour zone, then it has nothing to do with it's a limit, not a target. They are simply incompetent and need to hand in their license. Story 46. Having to clear leftover seconds on the microwave. It takes 1 click, and it is your fault that you overestimated the time it would take to heat the item. What, the last time you cooked popcorn, it took 9 seconds longer. Come on now. Story 47. A lot of the things already mentioned make me irrationally angry, but my dad's is when we take our stuff out of the microwave a second before it is done. Story 48. When I go to a restaurant and for theatrics, the waiter starts making guacamole, preparing salad, carving meat, or flambeing food on my table. Story 49. People who use available space at a fast food drive-thru. People who park over a public sidewalk. Story 50. When people spill food and do not bother to pick it up or clean afterward. My mom is a perfect example. She just keeps chewing and getting crumbs all over the place. Even when we are in a restaurant or someone else's house. It is so embarrassing. Story 51. Let my classmates dedicate themselves to instilling fear about exams, evaluations, and syllabi. I study regularly, and I say they are complicated but not to the point of being scared to death to take the exam. Fortunately, I have rarely been in the situation of leaving an exam blank, but fearing my classmates in their explanations really seems low and despicable to me. Also, the idea of surviving between periods is horrible. The worst thing is that the person doing well is an academic reference in the class. But I, on the other hand, am not understood or something makes my explanations boring or complex. I speak from envy, but the fear really drives me crazy. When I was a reference for my colleagues, I did everything possible to encourage them and explain so they wouldn't have to ask me repeatedly. I once made a very close friend by helping with those tasks. Story 52. When someone expresses interest in meeting socially, but then fails to follow through or expects you to do all the work making plans. Story 53. When people ask me irrelevant questions. For example, I have been with my girlfriend for 6 years now. I know what food she likes and have talked about it extensively. I tell her I am ordering pizza, and she does not reply, which is fine. The irrational part is when she asks me which kind of pizza I got. It will never be anything I know she does not like. Whatever it is, she will love it, as that has always been the case. I know she is just curious, but it bothers me a little bit. Story 54. When it is Godzilla Day at the Pick and Save, everyone else in my small town thinks it is cute, but I consider it a nightmare. Story 55, entitled Jaywalkers. If you step into a crosswalk out of turn, or if you decide not to use the crosswalk and take your time crossing the middle of the street and get in my way, I am about to upset you. Story 56. If you interrupt me in a conversation that I did not want to be in, chances are I will write you off faster than a wrecked car. Story 57. Being clumsy. For example, when I am having a day where I am dropping things or bumping into things repeatedly. Story 58. 2 things from a list of several hundred. Taking both AirPods out of the case and finding only one of them has charged gets me every time. That and people who walk 2, 3, 4, or too many abreast on a shared public walkway where they won't move, forcing you to either stop or push you over the white line into the cyclist side. Story 59. I have to make decisions about supplying my body with food multiple times a day, every day, so I can continue doing anything else. Story 60. Getting the check writing coupon, fumbling with no price on this item from the person in front of me. The other day, I had to tell the cashier that I doubt it has ever taken me more than 10 or 15 seconds to just pay for something and get on with life. Story 61. People requesting a status update when there has not been enough time for any change in status since the last update. Story 62. Once, I shot a tape measure over the button not locking. I throw a tape measure across the shop, hit it with a wrench, and run it over with the tractor. If my tape measure does not lock for easy cuts and lines, I am losing it. Story 63. Flagging me down while I am bartending but not knowing what you want is frustrating. If you are going to be impatient, you better be ready to order. Do not snap, whistle, or wave and then say, I am still thinking. Story 64. Having to invade my mouth every day by brushing my teeth. I just did them the other day. Why do I have to do them again? I went to the dentist today, and he said they are good, so I must be doing something right. I wish I never had to think about them again. Remembering to brush them and then actually going to brush them is exhausting. Story 65. Basic stuff. Spatial awareness is the worst. Also, not knowing how to make a choice. Don't stand in doorways and don't holler at me for attention just to have me sit there and wait 10 minutes to find out what drink you want. Story 66. When a microwave food item instructs you to peel back, stir, then recover, and instead of peeling back in one piece, it shreds into pieces, recovering it becomes practically impossible. Story 67. My family is notorious for simply adding water to soap bottles when they run out, and I swear to God. Story 68. Introducing myself to someone and having them ask me what I like to be called. Call me by my name that I just told you. Story 69. Where are the hairbrushes? We have many hairbrushes, and they are always missing. Why don't the children leave them in the bathroom so I do not have to turn the house upside down in the mornings? Story 70. Waiting to be served at the bar with someone who does not know what they want to drink by the time the bartender serves us. People who have no awareness, blocking entire aisles and shops while chatting with their friends about the weather, or having in-depth conversations with the checkout person. which slows everyone else down. Self-service checkouts when more than one light turns red and the attendant is very old and does not know what to do. People who play videos on their phones at full volume in pubs or on buses. Use good headphones. Story 71. McDonald's and others are offering 4 roundup options on the payment machine, with the largest roundup amount highlighted to make you think it is standard. If I want to donate to charity, I will do it in my own time, not when I am paying and want to be quick. I should not have to search through all options to find the one that matches the payment just for the food I want to order. Story 72. People who never stop talking. Everyone knows at least one person like this. They just keep talking nonstop for 1 to 2 hours, and after 5 minutes, I start having harmful thoughts. Story 73. When people change lanes without using turn signals. I also dislike when drivers follow a semi-truck closely and then suddenly speed up to pass just as I am approaching behind the semi-truck. It feels very inconsiderate, as they know exactly what they are doing. Story 74. A shop charges an expensive electronic funds transfer at point-of-sale fee on top of your purchase. I bought an acai cup for $17, and the final card payment was $19.70, $2 more. Next time, it is better to purchase with cash. Story 75. When I ask, "What do you want to eat?" and she says, "I don't know." Yet everything I suggest, she shoots down. Story 76. Pressing the button for the elevator and then realizing someone on another floor was quicker. Now I have to wait even longer. Bonus points if they take a long time and block the elevator. Story 77. When there is a line for the restroom, every person assumes the stalls are in use without checking. Lines get long because no one actually checks and just assumes they are occupied due to the line. I always check, and there are almost always empty stalls. It drives me nuts. Story 78. When I forget to put my energy drink in the refrigerator the night before, I have to wrap one in a wet paper towel, put it in the freezer, and wait 15 whole minutes for it to get cold before I get my caffeine. Story 79. I use software at work that requires a username and password. When you double-click the icon, the login window opens and the cursor is flashing in the username box. That window is not active. Typing does nothing but select icons on the desktop and make the Windows notification sound indicating an error. You have to click into the box with the flashing cursor every time. Story 80. Not being able to press the button to cross the road until I reach the button at the side of the road. Story 81. People boarding a bus or train before passengers have had a chance to get off is only a few seconds of inconvenience, but it is one of the most infuriating moments I have ever experienced, especially when I am on my way home from a long day at work. Story 82. When you are walking towards someone in the street and try to sidestep them, they go the same way. Then you go the other way and so do they. Story 83. People get irritated when someone asks a simple question to help them understand something better. Have some patience. They want to understand. They are making an effort. Why can't you? Story 84. When your Uber driver is erratic, I just want to look at my phone. Instead, I have to look outside or else I get carsick. Story 85. Tape on packages. Tape on takeout boxes. Tape on the paper bags. Tape on gifts. Tape. If you do not have scissors or a cutter nearby, it is difficult to remove the tape without damaging the box, wrapper, or bag. Story 86. Shops change their entire setup every few months, preventing shoppers from quickly finding the aisle where a specific item used to be, resulting in wasted time. Story 87. Cars jerking and revving their engines act like they want to run me down when I have the right of way. Annoying drivers who do not take the hint, keep driving when I wave them forward, then wave me forward and force me to walk in front of their dangerous vehicle. Story 88. Drivers miss green lights because they are not paying attention. Realistically, it is 2 to 3 minutes of my life, but it makes me very angry. Story 89. When I try to pull something out of my bag and it does not slide out smoothly, it gets stuck on something. Now I have to move things around. How rude. Story 90. When the final year project on whatever social media feed I am looking at glitches and starts showing me Elon bot spam and posts in languages I cannot read. Story 91. When I didn't realize my phone was about to die and I had to plug it in. People who turn slowly while driving. Having trouble thinking of more. Story 92. Other people driving below the speed limit where there is nothing ahead for miles and nowhere to overtake. Story 93. At the drive-thru, the car in front of me orders like an army. It takes a long time to order, changes their mind, then repeats the order again. They drive forward and wait a long time for the order to be delivered. 2 to 3 full bags, plus drinks. Just my luck. Story 94. When the customer service representative on the phone keeps thanking me for my patience and telling me how much they appreciate my business, it is so irritating. Just answer my question so I can move on with my day. I do not need my ego stroked. Thank you. Story 95. QR code menus at restaurants. I go out of my way to keep my phone out of sight when at a meal, especially with others around, and I do not want to have to pull it out. Story 96. I work at a hotel and we have to change our login passwords every 3 months. They cannot be anything used in the last 2 years and must be at least 8 characters, with at least 1 uppercase letter, 1 special symbol, and 1 number. The problem is, it never works for anyone here, so we have to call the help desk. They never believe the system is faulty and treat us like we cannot follow simple instructions. I have started being very direct when I call, especially when they act like I am the problem. A few months ago, a woman on the phone, after implying I was incompetent for several minutes, remotely connected to my computer. I watched her fail to follow the password rules and try to create a password that wouldn't work even if the system wasn't broken on our side. I was surprised I wasn't reprimanded for how I spoke to her. The last time I had to change it, I told the person on the phone, just make the password whatever you want and call me back to tell me what it is. I'll write it down and tape it to the monitor because this method of security is far less secure than leaving the computer unlocked in the lobby. She said she could not call me back. Once we were remotely connected, I hung up. The phone rang within 30 seconds, and I answered, I thought you said you couldn't call me back? If we are going to get through this, we have to work together. But if you lie to me like that, I don't think I can trust you. At least my boss agrees with me about how they treat us. I know it is something small and petty, but I am usually good with technology. For goodness sake, these are 3 simple rules for making the password. I can follow those. It just never works for us. Literally everyone here has to call in, yet somehow they act like we are the idiots. The system is broken. Story 97. When someone stands in front of a door. This happened a lot when I worked in a grooming salon inside a pet store. People would just stop in front of our door. It drove me insane. The absolute worst was people waiting to come in but standing so close to the door they were fogging it up and not moving when the person in the lobby was done. Where do you want them to go? This has extended to anyone who stops in front of any door now though. Story 98. People sitting next to me on a plane or train who do not understand personal space according to my rules for respecting personal space in these situations. Also, when the person in front of you is not paying attention and maintaining an appropriate small distance between themselves and the person in front of them in line. Story 99. I am a student. I came into a class and someone was in my seat. Of course, we do not have assigned seats, but it is still my seat. Story 100. When I'm walking in a park and someone on a bicycle rings their bell behind me and does not attempt to go around me but insists I step aside, I think, oh sorry, your royal bicycle. I shall let you pass. To be fair, it makes sense that they need to let people know they are behind them. I just hate the sound of the bell. Story 101. My truck mini fridge died a few days ago, and I threw away 7 pounds of grilled down home sausage, 4 packages of deli meat, 3 packages of mozzarella string cheese, 4 avocados, and a bottle of ranch dressing. It will take 2 weeks to replace it. The fridge in my previous truck lasted 5 years. This one lasted 10 months. Story 102. Commuting to work is difficult. Being between my personal space and my workspace while time passes in the background makes me upset and angry. Story 103. Feeling like I have to go full-blown demolition derby in the store to get by people who put their cart perfectly where you cannot go by on either side and then just stand there like there are not other people who want to shop around them as well. Story 104. People blocking the left side on the escalator. The left side is for walkers. If you want to talk to your friend, go up 1 step and turn around. I have places to be. Story 105. People who stop just outside the subway steps or right outside the door of businesses. It is easy to go around them, but it is also easy to take 3 extra steps to the side to be out of the way. Story 106. Being in the grocery store and having to alter my path because the person walking toward me with a cart is not paying attention and has crossed over to my lane. Story 107. The left lane is not the fast lane, implying it is acceptable to go slightly over the speed limit there and no faster. The left lane is the passing lane, meaning you need to go faster than the people to your right so both you and the vehicles behind you can pass them. Your target to exceed is not the speed limit. It is the speed of the cars to your right. Story 108. Those screws that keep the model cars bolted down to the board are very annoying, and you never have the screwdriver that can open them. Story 109. This may sound silly, but although I rarely drink soda since I am diabetic, whenever someone leaves only 1 gulp worth of soda in a 2-liter bottle, I think, come on, finish it and throw the bottle out. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.